morning, happy Thursday. PASW staff, clients, friends joining us. We're revisiting one of my favorite jazz composers. John Pazes likes this guy too. And without further ado, let's take a look at the great Dave Brubeck. American jazz composer, pianist, and leader, one of the leaders of the cool jazz movement, like Chet Baker, like we looked at yesterday, and unusual time signatures. We're going to see 3/4, 4/4. We're going to see 5/4. We're going to see 9/8. Yeah, I know, meters and time signature meters. So just a rundown. Born in Concord, California, so up north. And his mom was a classical pianist and taught him everything about piano playing, but he couldn't read music because of his vision. He was born cross-eyed and had vision problems that made it super hard for him to read music. So he, like Chet Baker, learned more by ear. And he had those cool glasses, but I don't think he was trying to be a hipster back then. Those glasses really were to help him see better. So he had really bad vision problems, and so he found a way to hide those vision problems by using his ear, which is amazing. And in college they found out that he couldn't really read music as well as the other people, and they were like, I don't know, we gotta maybe expel this kid. They didn't, but they were skeptical about that. And then drafted in the Army. And in the military, he meets Paul Desmond, who wrote Take 5 that we're going to look at. We're going to look at 3 songs later at the end of the class. He meets Paul Desmond, American saxophonist, and then comes back to California after a few years and studies at Mills College in Oakland. We know Mills. Do you remember Mills? Mills is where Burt Bacharach went, and both of these gentlemen, Brubeck and Bacharach, studied with Darius Milhaud. We did a whole class on Darius Milhaud, the French composer, and who was very much also into some early jazz elements in his own music, but he was a French composer, and we looked at some of those beautiful pieces that he wrote, Brazilian pieces that he wrote, and it was super fun. And he really encouraged, Burt Bacharach and also Dave Brubeck, sort of like Nadia Boulanger did. And this is what good teachers try to do: is look at the student's strength and try to encourage that strength, not to hinder it and to make them conform to what you want them to do, but what is in their heart. He also took 2 lessons from Arnold Schoenberg at UCLA. Schoenberg is we did a class on Schoenberg, and he was the one that got rid of tonality and came up with the system, the 12-tone row. So Brubeck wants to get all the knowledge he can from classical music. Just because he plays jazz piano doesn't mean that it should stop there. A good lesson for all of us. Just because we're in our comfort zone doesn't mean there's not more to learn about other kinds of music. Because then when you learn the rules, you can break all the rules you want. I've been breaking rules most of my life. Brubeck starts one of the first racially integrated jazz groups. Organizes it in 1951. I mean, huge segregation going on at that time, with Paul Desmond on alto saxophone. And they're playing in San Francisco a lot. And and they start recording all this music that people are really liking. Again, it's great timing that this cool jazz is coming in, and Paul Desmond's tone is so breathy and cool. They're so successful in 1954, Dave's on the cover of Time magazine. Huge, because jazz is becoming something hip that intellectuals in coffee houses and stand-up comedians are talking. Mort Saul, people are becoming interested in this kind of new thing. It's very cool to like jazz. And so in 1959, Time Out comes out, and the album went platinum very quickly, and one of the first jazz albums to sell more than 1 million copies. Let's just take a look at one of them, Blue Ronda a la Turk. John Pazes loves this song. I mean, everyone does, but John and I talked about this going into work one time. I don't know if he remembers, but I remember picking his brain about it because it's such a great tune. Let's watch Dave play this. very fun, right? It sounds jazz, but it also sounds kind of classical, even though it has nothing to do with Mozart's Rondo alla Turca. It's called Blue Rondo alla Turca, but I mean, he just gave it the blue because of the jazz, probably, but has nothing to do with that. So don't think Mozart did a version of this. I know it's a little confusing. It's exotic, right? So supposedly Brubeck heard this while he was touring Turkey in the Middle East in 1958. Because it sounds Turkish, I guess. So it's 9/8, so there's 9 beats per measure. Now, don't get too confused by the 8 underneath. Let's just keep it simple here. So 9/8 and da 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 da. You know, it's tricky, but it's syncopated, right? It's exciting. Next song is another one with time signature changes. 3 to Get Ready. Let's listen to this. This one's not as intense. It's more playful. If we just look at the sheet music, it's very simple with the chords above, 3/4 time, but then it goes to 4/4. As the listener, you don't hear that much, but you do. I think you hear kind of something where you're, oh, waltz, waltz. Well, there was an extra beat in there, and that's the 4/4 beat. Just to throw it off a little bit. We kind of like to stir things here. Just to kind of throw the ear off. I always find that interesting. It's a good thing about dissonance too. I mean, too much irregularity in time signatures can be a lot, too much dissonant, but just a little bit of spice is like, oh, you know, that's interesting. This piece reminds me of Claude Bolling too. Remember Claude Bolling? We looked at how to combine, if Bach were to be a jazz pianist, what would he sound like? Just a random kind of thought, but it reminds me of Claude Bolling, who would do, you know, with Rampal, the famous jazz suite in the 70s, so, you know, a little bit later. And then the last one we're going to look at is, of course, the most famous jazz song in the world, literally, Take 5. So this is written by Paul Desmond, not Dave Brubeck, but recorded with the ensemble. Written a lot for the drummer, Joe Marola, because he was tired of playing 4/4, so he was playing around with this other rhythm, 5/4. What other song is 5/4? One of the most famous songs in the world. We know Mission Impossible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's such a fun, you know, it's great. So Take 5 has this really cool vamp going on with these 2 chords and great saxophone sounding. Paul Desmond was just so cool with this sound. And then when it goes into the B section, it's very pleasant, huh? It's just delightful when it goes there. Then it goes back to the vamp. This song is probably the most famous jazz song. I mean, I'm trying to think of another, and I think it's a song everybody just gravitates to for some reason. I don't think that they thought that it would be this big of a hit, but when it came out in 1959, it changed everything. So interesting that that's the same year Kind of Blue came out, but they're different sounding. Kind of Blue is modal jazz, so what? These still have playful jazz chords to them, but it's not bebop. It's popular music. I mean, it's just 2 branches of jazz that I thought would be interesting for us to listen to. So that's Dave Brubeck. he was a hugely active all of his life until he died at age 92, or just a few days actually before his 92nd birthday. So lived a long life, died in 2012. So it's a good thing he didn't end up being a rancher like his father. But this guy was born cross-eyed. Can you believe that? And overcame all those obstacles, vision problems early in his youth. And so he couldn't read sheet music. So he relied on his ear. Isn't that amazing when you think about that? And all the great music that he wrote. Just spectacular. So hope you enjoyed Dave Brubeck. It was so fun revisiting that. Tomorrow we see your film scoring results for Succession, so I can't wait to show you that. Okay, have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow. Bye.